on my brand. So like he mentioned, I've been here for about a year and a half. Dallas is actually my home. This is where my family resides, and for about 19 years I tried to get to the Dallas division so that I could be back home with my family. And I was successful in that. Luckily, it only took 19 years, but I made it happen, and I'm very thrilled and excited to be a part of the Dallas division. Previously in the San Antonio division, I thought San Antonio was one of the best divisions, and it is a good division. But after being here for about a year and a half, Dallas really is probably one of the leading divisions in the Bureau. It's currently ranked number 12 within the FBI based on just the number of personnel that we have. However, Dallas should be ranked number 5. Because of the population, the number of counties that we serve. We have about 130 counties. So we're not just here in the Dallas, DFW area. We actually have West Texas and East Texas. We have about 12 offices that are part of the Dallas division. And we cover all threats, all national threats. National security, criminal, cyber, and everything. So I am actually just one of 5 ASACs, which means Assistant Special Agent in Charge. We have our Special Agent in Charge, who's head of the FBI Dallas Division. And he reports Monday, he's brand new to us, Joe Rothrock. He comes with a lot of criminal experience and some counterintelligence experience, so we're very thrilled to have him come and report. And then you have your assistant special agent charges, which is what my position is. We have one that covers all counterterrorism violations, whether it's international or domestic, and he also has our weapons of mass destruction violations. So as you can imagine what's been going on recently, he's been pretty tasked right now. Even though they didn't happen in our office, a lot of times those incidences have pulled to our different areas, and we are still helping and supporting those different field offices for the leads. We also have another national security ASAP. He covers our counterintelligence and our cyber, both counterintelligence and criminal violations there within cyber. And then we have 2 ASACs that cover the criminal branches. You have the criminal, violent crime, violent gang, and our transnational organized crime groups. He covers all that. He also has our tactical response, so our SWAT teams and our evidence response team to go out in instances like what we had recently. We deploy our folks here from Dallas to those different areas and help support them as well. They're all trained nationally, so they all know how to kind of interject themselves within other division teams. Then you have an ASAC as well, who covers those RAs. I talked about the 12 different RAs. So he covers the Lubbock, Amarillo, Tyler, Lufkin, Sherman, Texarkana, all of those different RAs out there. He manages those to include any of the programs or cases that they have out there, making sure those personnel are getting those resources they need in order to efficiently investigate their cases. And then you have me. You've heard my background, pretty strong in financial white-collar crime, so that's what I currently manage. And that includes your complex financial crimes, so securities frauds, corporate frauds, mortgage frauds, bank frauds. I'm sure you've heard about PPP frauds, right? We have been extremely busy with those types of violations since COVID. So that's complex financial crimes. I think y'all might have heard about the Marina Brooks, Charles Brooks investigation. That's what we worked with. And we worked with Telemundo to help get the story out, to get a hold of the additional victims that were not coming to us for various reasons. In addition, we have our healthcare fraud program. So that's going to be your private programs like the Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, United, and those kinds of things. So we also have, and what more likely most people understand, is our government-funded programs. So Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE. But within the healthcare fraud program, our biggest priority is going to be anything that is related to patient harm. So if you have any providers who are maybe doing procedures that are not necessary, right? That is putting the patient in harm, right? They're getting procedures they don't really need. So those are going to be our top priority. Luckily, those are kind of far in between, but we do still get those. So please, obviously, if you hear that, the last thing we want is people to be getting harmed for things that they don't even need to be getting harmed. And then we have money laundering enablers, and so that's really not the individual who's the criminal moving their own money. It's those individuals who are facilitating for the criminal. So a lot of times these are real estate professionals, attorneys, CPAs, accountants that are just helping them move the money to make their money look legitimate. So moving it from illegitimate to legitimate. So that's kind of what we look at there on the facilitators. A lot of times we do see those different types of scams that could affect folks. Romance frauds, that they come in initially, the person's a victim, and then the criminals are then getting those victims to move money around for them in hopes that they're going to get refunded their money or get their money back in some way, whether they earn it or whatnot. Sometimes they know about it, sometimes unfortunately they don't know about it, and then it's just causing more victims in the States. And then lastly, the reason why we are really here today is public corruption and civil rights. Public corruption is that's not really why we're here, but public corruption can be both law enforcement, elected officials, and all those folks, right? People that are put into positions of trust that we really want to be able to trust and to rely on them to do their job and to protect us. And a lot of times, unfortunately, there are some folks there that aren't there for the right reasons, or they start for the right reasons and then they get off track and unfortunately stray off the path. But the real reason we are here is for civil rights. It's our number one priority within my branch. And within civil rights, you have various different aspects, right? And I'm not going to talk a lot about this because the two individuals I brought are going to be your experts with that. I have so SSA, which stands for Supervisory Special Agent, is Jennifer Brigham. She has been here for 22 years, but she has actually been with the government for 30 years. She had some prior military experience and came in, and she has dedicated her entire career with the FBI working public corruption and civil rights. So she is fully dedicated to this violation. She's very passionate. Unfortunately, Tuesday is her last day as my supervisor because she has been a supervisor for 7 years, and that's as much as you can be a supervisor. You can have to come to my position, go to headquarters, and do whatever. But unfortunately, she's going to be stepping down. But she's still going to be helping us out. Wealth of knowledge. So if you have any questions about that, she can definitely answer that. And then I also brought Carrie Davis. She is our hate crimes coordinator. She is also very passionate. She is the future of the FBI, and I am excited to have her as our hate crime coordinator. She has been in the role for a little less than a year. But she has shown to be very passionate about this violation. She goes out on weekends, to community, whatever you need. So does Jennifer. I couldn't be more proud of these two young ladies right here. I say young. I think Jen might be a little older than me by a year or two. So, but I couldn't be more proud of these two and the folks that they're working with and that I have the privilege of being able to work with. Very excited about. So. A couple things before I do go. I wanted to mention just a couple of community things that the Bureau here in Dallas does. We have what we call Citizens Academy. I don't know, has anyone ever been a part of Citizens Academy? No, but I'm going to go. Okay, so Citizens Academy, we start that in August, so I am assuming, I'm not quite sure exactly when we start advertising it, but I would start kind of keeping an eye out in March. If you are interested, you'll probably need the recommendation of either an FBI agent or employee or a former Citizens Academy graduate. So if you're interested, please let me know or let one of these ladies know, and we can get in contact with you and make sure that you're aware of when that comes about. And then the last thing that I wanted to make sure I mentioned is Teen Academy. So we have a one-day Teen Academy in the summer. So I think it's for juniors and seniors. So if you have a junior or senior that's interested in just knowing what we do, they don't have to want to be interested in being an actual FBI agent. We have other positions, and they get to learn about all the different positions within the FBI that they can potentially do. But it's a fun day for them. So if that is something anybody's interested as well, please let me know. That's usually in June or July. So they're going to start with probably look like that here soon, because we have to do a bunch of different checks. So that's all I have. Yes. I wanted to push it over to them. So first will be Carrie Davis.
Thank you. Good morning and Happy New Year. My name is Carrie Davis. I am a special agent with the FBI. I have been with the FBI for 5 years now, so I am a little bit newer, obviously, than my boss and my boss's boss. So, but I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be in this role. I am originally from Louisiana. I processed out of the New Orleans agency, or the New Orleans office, and then came to Dallas. Dallas is actually my #1 pick. So very happy to be here. I love Texas and Dallas. I'm so thrilled to be here. In my 5 years before, I was working mainly in public corruption. And then, as Holly said, in the last year or so, I switched to now doing employee civil rights and hate crimes, and I'm doing hate crime coordinator, which I am so thrilled to be. I wanted to do this. I asked to do this. I'm like, this is what I want. I have such a passion for working with people and victims and stuff like that. So very happy. And things like this is what we're here for. We're here to get out in the community and to do outreach and to meet people like all of you. So thank you, LULAC, for having us to be here. A little bit about hate crimes, short rundown. So hate crime is a crime committed against a person or property based in whole or in part by a bias against a person's characteristic, whether that be gender, religion, ethnicity, sexual orientation, stuff like that. So that's what we do. That's what I do mainly. Fun fact, the state of Texas doesn't have a hate crime statute. They just have a hate crime enhancement and sentencing. So the FBI is the entity who actually processes and investigates hate crimes. We have statutes. There's a few of them. The most recent one is Matthew Shepard and Bird Act in 2009. But anyway, so that's what I do. I'd love to talk to you after if you have any questions about hate crime, stuff like that. Very happy to be here, very passionate to work in the community. Hope that I get to work more with the LULAC and just kind of be plugged in. A big thing with hate crimes is that it's very underreported. So the thing that we ask all of you in the community is to report it. Even if you don't think that it's something that rises to our level, we want to know about it. We want to know things that are going on in the community. Even if I can't fully investigate it or prosecute it, I still want to be aware of things that are going on.
Where do we call?
Good question. So ways to report it is you can do 1-800-CALL-FBI. You can report it online at FBI.gov. There's a submit a tip thing. It's pretty easy. And then you can always call our local office, our FBI Dallas office, or you can come in. You can do a walk-in, but I would say online or 1-800-CALL-FBI is probably the best way to call it. And how that works is once you report it, it gets trickled down. It'll probably come to me in order to investigate it. But I'm going to be here. I have business cards. If you want to talk to me after, I'm more than willing to. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Mandy Del Santos with Texas LULAC, Deputy Director for LGBTQ issues. And my question is, do you foresee a change in protected classes with the incoming government? Do you foresee a change in protected classes, particularly LGBTQ? And if so, if those statuses change from a protected class, what happens with the investigations that are currently open?
So with the change in administration, is that what you're asking? So it doesn't matter what administration we are under, we work the same way. We are a non-partisan entity there. It doesn't matter who the administration is. We will work the same thing no matter what. There's no changes that unless, yeah, we work the same no matter what the administration is.
I'll just add, we work
work in partnerships with our local police officers, so we have a task force. So we use those to work any kind of hate crime. So as far as the hate crime laws, the laws don't change, but what does is case law. So case law, if you remember, the Bostock law changed things as far as LGBTQ rights when it comes to discrimination in housing. So those kinds of things change things. So it's the court system. We don't make the laws, we simply enforce them, but we are very diligent on what we look at, and we will aggressively prosecute those cases where there's a hate crime. So I'm fortunate to see some of those changes throughout my career in the FBI and how much it's gone to protecting the rights of all people. So it's a really good question. We'll take one more. And then we'll hold the question still again.
Well, good morning. First of all, I want to thank you for your service and thank you for all that you do for our nation to keep us safe. It's not lost on me that your presenters are all women. I think that is awesome. Awesome. Totally awesome. My question for you is this. I work at the LULAC National Educational Service Center. We're an educational component within the LULAC family. Whenever something happens in the community that gets controversial, often we hear about it. 3 times over the last 20 years, our windows in the front of our building have been shot out during the times of controversial issues. We've had to replace them. We do report it to the local police, but we never thought about reporting it to the FBI. Does that rise to the level of what would be called a hate crime? And would reporting it to the police department locally eventually make it to, I don't know what they do with it, if they just put it as a minor petty crime type thing, or if it actually gets put up into that type of level.
So that's a
Could
really
you comment
good
on that?
question. Yes, I think you should report it to both places. But that's the power about having a task force. So I have a Dallas police officer named Phil Gordon, who's part of my task force, who works with our squad. So if the complaint comes into DPD, that's the power of having both local and state. He's a U.S. Marshal, so he can investigate both. So you should report it to both. The challenge with some of these crimes is that a lot of times the subject's unknown. And it's hard to prove who did it and the motivation on which they did it to. Was this just a random crime? Was it a random shooting and they didn't know what they were shooting at? Or was this motivated in part by hate? And that's what we aggressively pursue. So it's really hard. It's one of the challenges that I've had over 22 years in my career working hate crimes here in Dallas, is proving what's in the hearts and minds to get that hate crime proven, because that's what sometimes the challenges are. So I said we'll hold the rest of the questions till the end. So my name is Jen Brigham. Like Holly said, I'll be transitioning out. I'll be retiring this year. Thank you. After 31 years. But it's been a great ride. I've been fortunate that I have 22 years in Dallas, and when I came out of the academy, I said, hey, I want a big city with a warm climate, low cost of living, and no state taxes. And when you come up with that, you're still going to come up with Dallas, Texas. So I've been very fortunate to be here. I'm an Oak Cliff resident. This is one of my favorite restaurants here in Oak Cliff. It's very good, so it's happy to be here. I've been fortunate to work hate crimes my entire career, and I manage a squad of agents and analysts that investigate hate crimes. So when we talk about what civil rights are, it's hate crimes which traditionally we see in the news, whether it's Matthew Shepard, whether it's a discrimination based on housing, sexual orientation, or a protected class. But we also investigate excessive force by police officers. That's also called color of law, that's under our program, and we investigate that as well too. So one of the things I get a lot from the community when we do these outreach events is, what can I do to help? It is to report hate crimes. It is widely underreported across all communities, and we really need you guys, if there's one thing to take away, is please encourage reporting. That will do so much good. A lot of times I'll reach out to a victim and they'll say, well, I just thought it was nothing. I didn't think it would rise to the level of the FBI. So please make sure to encourage reporting. I don't know if you guys have seen the mural that we have here on Tyler Street. A couple years ago we painted a mural with a QR code. That's part of our hate crimes outreach. We did that here in the Cliff and also in Oak Lawn. So that's a little bit about the hate crimes program. If you have any questions, please come up and talk to us. It's great to be here and love this restaurant. It's very fun.
Hey, can we do better than that? Thank you all very much. I had the pleasure of listening to both Ms. Kelly and also I think Ms. Davis at another event, and I thought that this would be a very proper place for them to come in and also discuss what they do, because I think we also need to think about how we can get more of our young people interested in not only joining law enforcement, but also going into federal law enforcement. And since we focus a lot on education, I think it's one of the ways that we can help our community uplift themselves and make sure that we're represented at all levels of government, but also in law enforcement. Thank you all very much for being with us this morning. Let's hear it again. Our next speaker, I would like to recognize former Sheriff Lupe Valdez, who's in our crowd. Please stand up. We recognize Brother David Espinosa, a board member in Blackberry. Thank you very much. Am I missing any other elected official? Stewart? Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
With
Mesquite.
Mesquite? Stand up and be recognized. I guess if we didn't have mesquite trees, we wouldn't have anything in the state of Texas,
That's
right? We also have National Board Member Ana Coca coming in late, but here, present. Thank you very much for coming, Ana. Happy New Year. Let me just say that I have been on we have different nonprofits, as you know. One of them that was mentioned earlier, that Ray de Los Santos has done a great job in how many years have you been now, Ray? 20-some odd? 25 years. God, mighty boy, the time goes by fast. It was an idea we had to bring a center like this, and we were able to work the right politics, not only to bring one to Dallas, but one to San Antonio at the same time. And Ray was getting his PhD at North Texas. I said, Ray, we got this place and we got this program. Are you interested? So, well, I'm working on a PhD, Hector. I can't leave my PhD and go work. But you know, we were able to convince him. He had never finished, but he's done a great job, Ray. I have to recognize him. And of course, the other program that we also have, that is about a 30 million plus program. We're like in about 20 states, helping train people to give them skills so they can be able to compete in this global economy. And I've gotten to meet this young lady, Emma Trevino, who basically runs the operation nationwide. And she and her sister who also work for us. They do a marvelous job in helping us. And Emma Trevino has worked for us, how many years now?
17 years.
17 years, man. You must have started at what, age 10? Let's hear it for Emma Trevino with the Sarah.
Buenos días, feliz año. Emma Trevino, Vice President of Operations for Star National. As Hector mentioned, I've been with the organization 17 years, started when I was 10. So we are a national nonprofit. And a little bit of the background of Star National, we just celebrated 60 years of service, employment, and development. We were founded in 1964 here in Texas. And our founding fathers is LULAC and American GI Forum. So without them, I give credit to them, we wouldn't be here. So, what we do, we provide education, workforce development programs nationwide. We're in over 22 states, over 200 locations, from early Head Start all the way to senior training programs. We have programs in STEM. We have programs providing certifications, entrepreneurship, women's program, housing, GED. And just recently, what we added here in Oak Cliff, and I'm super proud of this, Youth Build. So we're going to be able to provide to our youth, high-risk youth, education, training, and workforce development here in Oak Cliff. We serve over 1.2 million individuals every year. providing crucial, again, with education and training programs, workforce development. And not to brag, but I'm gonna brag a little bit. So, and here we have a representative of the board of GPISD. We are celebrating 10 years of providing early head start here in Dallas County. We were recognized as one of the most exceptional programs. Why? Because we provide curriculum not only in English, in Spanish, and in sign language. So our kiddos are not only not learning curriculum in English, it's bilingual in Spanish, and in sign language. So we're here with a partnership with GPISD, almost 10 years, and hopefully another 10 years, and so forth. We also have our program Set Head. We're celebrating, and I'll let Ms. Renee Alba, our program coordinator, a little bit more details at the end. Celebrating 10 years of providing and focusing in La Mujer Hispana, because there are the most, and a lot of people don't know, that's the fastest growing demographic to start small businesses. And within the 10 years, we service over 20,000 and assisting small business entrepreneurs to start their business with providing workshops, education, vendor opportunities, and a little bit of seed money is not much, but you know, get it out anything gratis right nowadays. That's one of the other programs. Our senior program, which is nationwide, anybody that's 55 and above, you know, a lot of seniors are not computer savvy and they can't survive on Social Security and they need to go back into the workforce and they have no idea how to use a computer. Everything's digitized, everything's on a computer, online, application, submit a resume. What we do, partner with other nonprofits, enter into training in different various positions and to get paid a little bit of a stipend in order for them to get those skills at the end, you know. So at the end, hopefully they get full-time or part-time employment. The program's 4 years long. So we service over 2,500 individuals in that particular program nationwide. So we have offices in California, Kansas, Colorado, Missouri, here in Texas, and in Wisconsin. Hopefully, you know, we'll grow a little bit more, but we serve tons of people with, again, trying to provide all training and workforce development. And we recently also partnered with Cisco. And everything that we provide is absolutely free for our community. There is no cost to anything. We provide Cisco training, certifications, coding, cybersecurity, and again, everything's absolutely free for our community and our kiddos. We do have some local events, and I'll pass it on to our program coordinator, Renee Alba, to talk a little bit about our celebration of Set Head. Every year we celebrate, we have an annual conference. Last year was our big, you know, we were at the Urban Convention Center. We celebrated 60th with over 700 individuals attending. And what we do too, with our ceremonial program, we provide vendor opportunities for our entrepreneurs to provide and have a table and sell. So we had over 200 Hispanic small business owned entrepreneurs in our conference. So they have networking opportunities, they have workshops, education, they have a great luncheon, we have a great reception at the end. So we do that every year. And we have an upcoming one here in May. But let me pass the microphone to our program coordinator and talk a little bit more about Set Head and what the upcoming events.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, as Emma said, we have an exciting event coming up, a major milestone for Set Head, in that we're celebrating 10 years. 10 years of helping small business owners, especially minority women. I've had the pleasure of going out to the community, and I think that aside from all of the assistance that we're able to provide and the support, I just have that passion of going out to the community and meeting the people that we serve, the people that we live with, the people that we know here in the area. And it's a privilege to be able to offer the support, to get to know women one-on-one. We've had so many people that have been with us from the very beginning and have become part of our familia. So as Emma mentioned, we're having our first Set Head conference on March the 23rd, which is a Sunday, so mark your calendars. This is going to be a great family-friendly event. So we're partnering with several community partners, and we're going to partner with Anales Community, the Unidos, and the LULAC, and I think we have one more, but I'm waiting to get confirmation. So we've got some great partnerships, but we're going to have free vendor opportunities. So if you know someone that would like to have, showcase their business, network their services, they're more than welcome to connect with us so that they can have that opportunity. We will have workshops where we will have speakers providing education to our entrepreneurs. We will have entertainment for children. It's just going to be a great event. We'll have a DJ. It's going to be a fun family day. And what better way to celebrate our milestone anniversary than to be able to celebrate it with the community, the family community that we have here in the DFW area. So we welcome all of you, and everyone that you may know, that please mark their calendar for March the 23rd. And then also in a few more months after that for our annual conference, our 61st annual conference. And if you've ever been to one of our conferences, you do not want to miss it. So we look forward to seeing you all, and thank you for your time.
Where's the conference going to be located?
The March conference is going to be the Galana Center in Arlington, off of
Okay.
Mount 1120.
Yeah.
But I believe Renee passed out a packet if you want to learn a little bit about, the history, a little more information. And feel free to come and talk to us if you have any questions of any programs. I know there's a couple of questions up here. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Gracie Cortez, and I'm Deputy Director of North Texas LULAC, Deputy Director of Women. And I would like to, on behalf of our D3 officers, I would like to see if we could partner with you. And I know as women, we like to register voters. So would you allow us to register voters without having to pay?
It's free, she said.
It's absolutely free, absolutely. So we can talk a little bit after. Yes, absolutely, we'd be honored.
So first of all, I want to thank for the partnership that we have with Grand Prairie, going on, 9 years strong since I've been on the board.
Almost 10 years,
Almost 10 years, so I've been on the board 9, so about the same time. And I have one concern with said is how can we expand in GPISD, because I know we have a lot of low-income families, they can't afford to pay for pre-K, but one of my goals now in these next 3 years is how can we expand to more schools, because I know y'all have it at certain schools, but we want it for all kids and at all of our schools in
Absolutely,
GPISD.
that's absolutely one of our wish lists. And every time when the Office of Head Start releases an opportunity to expand, we apply. Unfortunately, we haven't had that, a lot of committees that, but we always apply for more slots, especially in those low-income areas that is so needed, so needed. So every opportunity that we have, we apply to try to expand it, and we will continue to do so.
Is there anything I can do?
Letters of support, we could definitely do that. Letters of support.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
My question to you is something that was already kind of referenced earlier about the change of administration. A lot of the funding that your organization, and of course I represent my organization, receives is directly from the federal government. We do have our favorite billionaires who are now part of what they call DOGE, which basically they are looking for $2 trillion, they say, dollars to cut out of the federal budget. We know there's only $900 billion in discretionary funding. So they have to go to Social Security, or it's a complicated, I know. But how is SEV looking to educate community about the great work you do so that the community will stand up and say, hell no, do not cut these programs like Head Start and the senior service centers in Fort Worth and the other great work we do around the country. And how can LULAC help you?
So we're actually currently working on that as we speak. So LULAC was Mr. Palomares and our CEO, Mr. Ignacio Salazar, has done a stellar job in strategically speaking to those allies and those champions and those advocates that know the benefits of our senior programs, of our early head start programs, and they're literally, he's gonna be in DC next week, so I know they've been currently working on this and speaking to those and getting those allies. Now, there'll probably be a time that we need to advocate with our local congressmen and senate and, together as other nonprofits, because they're, for example, our senior program, we are 20 national grantees. We're not the biggest, we're in the middle, but we all gather together every month to see how we can strategically work together. Because together is stronger, right? One was almost must weapon, so that's what we're trying to do. And again, we have Mr. Palomares and CEOs speaking and strategically having meetings with those advocates and champions that will assist us in maintaining the funding level. Hopefully increasing, maybe we're shooting for the stars, but at least maintaining these programs. Because honestly, let's say for example, the senior programs, as I mentioned, a lot of people are just dependent on Social Security. And CSIP is gone, just for one example, and they have a little stipend money. It's not much, they get $300, $400, maybe $500 every 2 weeks. They're paying their rent, they're paying their medication, without this program, you will see millions of people homeless.
Ray, as you well know, we've always had also strong advocates for these programs on both sides, on both parties. And so we try to cultivate these relationships so they see how they impact the local community where they come from. And so we've been working on that even before, the elections. We don't want to worry about elections. Some favor social programs, others don't. But we want to convince them that the impact of these are so important in our local communities that that's not the way to go. But we are meeting on a regular basis on the Hill, not only with the congressional leaders, but also we're working with the management team, the new management team that will take place on the 19th or the 20th. We're already been trying to broker. Our board is composed of people from both parties, as an example, that are high-level functionaries. So, I think that we got to work this thing. It's not something that we need to take it just like it is. Changing administrations have different ideas. We got to retain those programs that are good and expand them. And I think that's our goal, is to try and sustain those. One that I am always interested in is the program that she has, which is CSEP. Can you tell them a little bit about CSEP and why I like it?
So it's a little close to comfort. It's called senior, and it's 55 and above. But so our senior training program is anybody that's 55 and above, low income, unemployed, that is seeking to go back to the workforce but lacking those skills, right? As I mentioned before, now everything's digitized on the computer, online, AI, etc. So what we do is bring them into other nonprofits, give them those skills, and supported services, not only the training, but let's say, for example, somebody has a job interview and they don't have the attire to go to the job interview, we provide them clothing. If they have issues in transportation, we help them with that. So it's an amazing program and assistant, and they're training, they're getting educated, they're getting supported services, and at the end of the day, they get employed and be self-sufficient. A lot of seniors were depressed and isolated. This is another way for them to come out and communicate and feel fulfilled. And again, at the end of the day, we want them to be self-sufficient. Without this program, it will be detrimental to our senior community. People cannot just have Social Security. And there's talks about that too. So, yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I have a question. So with our governor having put into place the DEI, the diversity, inclusion, and the equity, with the threats to companies to donate to specific entities like Black, Hispanic, whatever, how are you combating that with requesting resources and funding from companies if there's a threat there that they may lose some of their stuff?
Yeah, and that's a reality.
How are you working that?
So it's our stories. And a lot of times you see some testimonial videos. It's one thing for me to tell you how good my program is, right? To a corporation, to, for example, Wells Fargo or GM or Bank of America. But when they see an actual individual and they hear their story and they understand, they're compelled. Now, there's a lot of corporations that are saying like, I'm just gonna bring them out there at Costco. They're like, yeah, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna take that away.
Yeah.
So it's really going out there, building those relationships, showing what we're doing, and for them to actually see the data and the help that we're doing, assisting all these individuals, and if without it, what would happen? Right? So we do a lot of testimonial videos because of that, a lot of stories, because again, I can brag and I toot my own horn, and I programs all this and that, but at the end of the day, they want to hear that story, that individual. Yes, ma'am.
¿Tenía una pregunta, señora?
No, quería hacer están hablando de las mujeres. Yo digo que las mujeres siempre hemos sido fuertes, nada más que siempre nos han calmado. Realmente, si ponemos a un hombre, con perdón la palabra, a parir, les apuesto que no ni a pastillas anticonceptivas tendrían. Porque el hombre es muy cobarde, se enferma, parece un bebé. Aparte de eso, nosotras las mujeres siempre sobresalimos de todas las cosas cuando queremos. Simplemente, en lo que tú quieras sobresalir, mucha gente, yo me enojo porque en el Facebook dice que las personas de 40 o 60 años no servimos para nada. Pues yo reto a todos esos que meten al Facebook, que jueguen competencias conmigo, lo que quieran.
¡Arriba las mujeres! Well, thank you again. Thank you for having us. And if you want more information, please feel free to come up or visit our website. And again, our Ms. Renee passed out a packet. There's full information. And thank you again.
Okay, let's hear it from. Thanks a lot for doing a great job at saying both you guys and the program itself. I know that they do. I like the program they did in California with all the farm workers. They were actually helping them with technology, so they were learning how to use drones to find out the humidity and how much they have to plant. And it's incredible what these guys can do. And now we have with us Dr. LaDonna Gully, the Director of Leadership and Empowerment from Mesquite ISD. She's a 30-year educator. Dr. Gully began her career as a Teach for America Corps member, and I'm very familiar with Teach for America program, making a difference in the lives of countless students nationwide. Starting in Houston, Texas, Dr. Gully taught 5th and 2nd grades in Houston. She continued in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in East Baton Rouge Parish Schools, teaching 5th, 6th, and 7th grade professional ed, self-contained, and inclusion. She left the profession briefly for a stint in social work, where she worked for the Parents as Teachers program at New Concept Self-Development Center in Milwaukee. I've been there. Returned to education. She has taught 6th, 7th, 8th, and collegiate levels for Dallas ISD, Mesquite ISD, and Dallas College. She spent the last 15 years as an administrator in Mesquite Independent School District as a top-performing elementary campus before assuming the Director of Leadership and Empowerment position in February of 2021. I present to you Dr. LaDonna Gully.
Thank you. So I want to start out by saying greetings from my superintendent, Dr. Angel Rivera, who is the superintendent of schools in Mesquite ISD. And I also want to say I'm so excited to be over here because when I started teaching in Dallas ISD, I was over in West Mesquite, right here in West Dallas. West D, that's what my students always said, and over at Thomas Alva Edison Middle Learning Center. And so had a number of students loved that school, and I have to say that I really begrudgingly ended up in Mesquite ISD, but it has been a great thing, Ms. Kisura, because I loved teaching in Dallas, and I loved my students. They were just so amazing, and now they're adults off doing really, really great things, and I've been able to keep in touch with a couple of them. So I can tell you all the great things that, of course, are happening in Mesquite ISD, right? Because, of course, at the end of the day, we are all about kids, and we understand that our kids are our future, right? And it's so interesting to hear and to be on this panel of not only women, but very strong women, and women who are making a difference in their respective fields. And as a teacher, that's what you always hope, right? That your students go off and they go and they do really, really great things. And so as a result of that, one of the many initiatives that we are working on, of course we're worried about, or I'm not gonna say really worried, but concerned about things like what's gonna happen with our families in Mesquite, will our family still really trust us with just so many things and the changes that are currently happening in not only our district, but also in our country. But more importantly, making sure that we are still creating those relationships that you talked about earlier and telling the stories of our students. I don't know if you know, but our student population in Mesquite is 60% Hispanic. Did you know that? Yes, right? 60% Hispanic. And so our students are just innovators and they're creators and they're collaborators. And those are the things that we are teaching them. We're giving them those really technical skills, of course, reading, math, writing, all of those really great things, right? But I will tell you that about 4 years ago, our district really stopped to take a look at how we were instructing students. But what were we really teaching our kids? And this really happened after the George Floyd murder, right? That happened, of course, COVID was going on. It was an opportunity for us. We were all stopped at home, stuck at home, right, many of us. And our district was just like so many other districts and companies all across the country, making statements and saying things, oh, this is what we're gonna do, this is what we're gonna do. And our district really kind of took a hit because I know that we have a reputation, right? A reputation that has sometimes been considered not inclusive. But I want to share with you today that we are extremely inclusive and we are working diligently every day to ensure that every voice is heard, that people are being seen, that they are being heard, and that we are committed to creating a culture of belonging, using dignity. And so this little pamphlet that many of you have on your table, the Mesquite Promise, is something that was developed out of this question that we had in Mesquite ISD about, making sure that, hey, we know we do a really good job with our kids academically. We know that our students are leaving and they're going to schools like Brown and Yale and Princeton and UT and SMU and Rice and all of these things, right? But are we teaching our kids the things that we truly believe about them? And so it really came up, there was really this strong question about who were we as a school district and where were we going to move and how would we do that? And, I'm really glad to know that people like Mr. Seward, who is one of our board members and currently president this year, really kind of was on the board at the time. And when all of that happened, of course, everyone is walking around saying, what are we going to do, right? But I would tell you that our board and our superintendent at the time, they really said, we can talk about it, we can write a statement about it, but what are we going to do about it? And so I'm really glad they hired me. That they hired me, they actually put together a group and they really listened to students and students' experiences and really got an idea. There were a lot of things that I think we thought we knew as the adults, but we didn't know. We didn't know that our students were experiencing just some things that shouldn't be happening, not only in the classroom, but just out in public in general in Mesquite. And so we really got together, they got together and they said, hey, we're gonna look at things like, how are we hiring people? How are we making sure that we're really inclusive? How are we celebrating culture in our district? How are we really promoting students being seen and students being heard in our district? And so as a result of that, they decided, they said, we need someone to do that. And that's really how my role was created. It was created out of that need to really address not only how do we build our future leaders, right? But how do we build a community around belonging? And so that journey began with, of course, the question, but then it also really pointed out to us that, hey, what do we really believe about our kids? And so when you look inside of this pamphlet, what you see are these 4 principles and these 16 habits that we indicatively believe about our students. That every single one of our students were made to excel, that they belong to all of us, that their dignity is a given, and that they are difference makers. And how is that going to show up day in and day out? And how will we use the language to really explain what does that look like, and how do we as the adults, not only in our district, but also out in the community, model and embody it in such a way that it becomes commonplace, right? And so the first thing that we did was our board got together and they said, hey, we're gonna write a statement too, but then we're gonna operationalize our statement. And so if you take a look at this, you'll take a look at it and you see that thing that says our commitment. And this is literally right under our mission and our vision within our school district. It says that Mesquite ISD is committed to creating a culture of dignity that leads to belonging. And here's the thing, dignity is different from respect. How many of you saw respect on the wall in the classroom? Right? Oh, I did it. I always said we will respect others in our classroom, right? Guess what our teachers are putting up in their rooms? Dignity. Your dignity is a given. Respect is a two-way street. I give it, you receive it, you give it back to me, I receive it. But dignity is different because it's an inherent value. It really attaches and helps us look in and look at a person in terms of their value and their worth. And that is really different. The other thing is that when we talk about you were made to excel, if you take a look at this, and I love this, right? Such great design, right? But when you look at this and we talk about you were made to excel, these are the habits that we are expecting our students to have. So to take initiative, to be accountable, to pursue your passion, right? And to make sure that you're setting ambitious goals. We're operationalizing that. We're making that a reality. We build our students up each and every day to think about, hey, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? What do you want to be when you grow up? How are you going to get there? How are you going to strategize around that? You know, when they don't do what they're supposed to do, instead of saying something like, you never get your work in, our teachers are reminding our students that, you know what, you are made to excel. This is not excelling. So how are we going to fix it? And so our language is different because our students, they're different. But I cannot tell you enough how creative and how collaborative our students are. And our students are thinkers. They are thinking and they are definitely critiquing all of us. Know that. They critique us all the time. When we talk about, and I'm going to move on, I'm just trying to move around this brochure. When we talk about your dignity is a given, look at that. Own your own worth. Own your worth so that you can value every single human being. And because you do that, you stop and think and you give grace. So huge. So we always think so much about the technical skills. And yes, our students definitely get the technical skills. But we are actually also teaching and incorporating the adaptive skills, the soft skills that our students need to work in the FBI, to go off and work in government, and hopefully, definitely run this world one day. And so, yes, we have just many great things happening. We are continuing to grow as a city. We have a number of programs within our city to create leaders. We have an emerging leaders program for our high school students. That is for any student can be an emerging leader. that is a 9th through 12th grader. We also have a community program that is called Project Lead for our adults within our city. And we want to help create our future board members, our future city leaders and city government for our city. And so we've created a program in conjunction with the city of Mesquite to actually do that, to put some things in place for them. We also work on leadership from the time our students are in kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade. We want to ensure that our students are receiving some really great soft skills that are going to take them to the next level. And then finally, we are working as a community and being committed to excellence around dignity. That is really big for us. It is our driving force. And so oftentimes you'll have school districts, when you ask them, okay, so tell me what your mission is. They can tell you what their mission is. When you ask them, tell me what your vision is, they can say, oh yeah, our vision is this, right? But then when you ask them, what is their why? And how are you operationalizing that every single day with every single student in your midst? Oftentimes, that's when people stumble. I am so glad to be able to report to not only to you, but all the organizations that I speak to, that we are not missing that step. That in fact, we are right on track for not only helping our students become great citizens, but also become great community activists, become state activists, become national activists, but truly are able to really take on the world in a global manner. So that's my report. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
Buenos dias and good morning.
Buenos dias.
My question is around the leadership development that you referenced. We are in the room right now with some awesome people, like Mary Cavazos over here from Grand Prairie ISD, who is a youth leader from LULAC at the campuses there. GPISD has, I believe, 3, maybe 4 high schools with a LULAC youth council that is going on there. We have former leaders from other cities here, Garland, and several from Dallas ISD. And a few years ago, we met with the superintendent to try to start LULAC youth councils in your district. Where we were stymied is that we asked or required the principals to identify a teacher who could serve as a club sponsor because they meet weekly. And then we try to have a LULAC person come in at least once a month as well to support them. But we never got beyond that step. How interested are you, and are you the right person to talk to about getting the principals motivated to help us identify someone on campus? We can't come onto your campus and do it for you. It takes someone to help us with that. To help give competition to Mary Cavazos over here, because they're winning Council of the Year at the district, state, and national type of thing. So, you mentioned leadership. Are you interested in accessing our national youth leadership workshops in DC and annual youth conferences, and how can we help you make that a reality?
You know what, let's talk. Because yes, I am the right person, but more importantly, I have to share with you that is really what has happened with emerging leaders, is that we started out just inviting students to become an emerging leader. Many of our students did not know even what that was about 4 years ago when we started. Actually, this is our 4th year that we're living in right now. And to date, we have over 700 emerging leaders across all 6 high schools in our district. And they actually go through this 3-year program. When they graduate with a cord. They are recognized at graduation. But as a result of that, we have also begun this process of creating all these mini programs. So we have students that take on things and say, hey, I want to help do that. And we allow our sponsors, they're actually paid to be sponsors, emerging leader sponsors, to actually help with those windows. So absolutely, I am the one I want to talk to you after we finish up. Absolutely. Thank you for asking.
Any other questions of Dr. Gully? Let's hear it for Dr. Gully. Thank you for your presentation. And if I could ask Ray Los Santos to come forward and Ana Coca. And incidentally, in the Dallas public schools, because of our need to have more, they have to go recruit law enforcement and firefighters outside the city, outside the state, sometimes out of country, like Puerto Rico in particular for Spanish-speaking reasons. And now there's a program in the high schools where kids can actually go into criminal justice and firefighting. There's about 6 schools. They have a program with a community college because they do dual credit. They get dual credit, so consequently, when they get in the programs, they can make as many as 45 to 60 hours when they finish the program, which means they're eligible to be considered for either fire or police. They require a 45-hour college credit in order to qualify. They may not be 21, but at like 19 and a half or 20, they can join both academies, either the fire or the police department. But these are things that we have to do because the fire and police do not reflect our community. Our growth rate is incredible, but not the numbers of employees that are there. So the school system is the place that's growing this population. We need to prepare them not only for college, but also all these other jobs that are there that we need to be represented because every law enforcement agency and fire agency, they need multiple languages, not only Spanish and English, but other languages also. You'll remember when we had 9/11, we had to contract out for language services. Can you imagine that? We don't even know if they were telling us the truth. So we need to be prepared for that eventuality that might happen again. I say that because all of us that have been in education, I used to implement the court order here, we have to go out and recruit people with all these skills. And I think it's something we need to think about in the different schools. I want Ray to give you a little report of some of the work that's being done, not only by him, but nationwide, about $1 million that go out in scholarship funds from all the different chapters that actually kick in to develop the scholarship funds. They're matched with corporate donations at the national level. And Ray, my pleasure to have you here again.
Thank you.